Okay, Mastermind Thursday afternoon with the legendary Karen Myatt.
Happy to be here.
Good afternoon, Karen. How's it going?
Going great. Thanks, Robert.
Yeah. Well, no, I thank you for being here. And I want everybody to know, I asked Karen yesterday, is there anything that you don't want me to bring up? And she said, no, I'm a pretty open book. So I wrote down some really interesting questions.
Love it. No, that's a little scary.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right. Very good. So Karen, again, really appreciate it. You coming on here today. I know a lot of people in our office know you, but there's some people in our office that might not, and there's some people that aren't part of our office. So give a little bit of a reader's digest of kind of who you are, what market you work, your business, so and so forth.
Okay, great. You know, Todd and I have been in Temecula, Murrieta, Menifee area for 30 plus years, since 89. And I've had my license since then as well. And we've been with Neil for 6+ years. So that's been a great part. Before that, I was with a small broker in town and was a much smaller city. As you guys know, Temecula wasn't the place people wanted to go to. And now it is. So we are open to all your referrals. I do work with buyers, so bring them on down. And I had my license since 89. I did new home sales for 15 years. And then I went into, resale in 04. And then that's when Todd and I started doing real estate together is in 04.
Got it.
Yeah.
So how does the dynamic work with you and Todd? So you're predominantly doing the sales and Todd does a lot of the back end type of stuff.
Yeah. So he does all our photography, and that's really more complicated than you would think, so a lot of lenses, a lot of, training and developing, and he does constantly improving his skills on that level. We also do the drone. We just started doing some video with our son as well. He's expensive, the son. So only on the good listings does we get a video interior shot.
Okay.
But, yeah, I think it's important, like Mike Ferry always says, to upgrade, so we're always upgrading the photography and all of that. So, but Todd does that, and he does all MLS, sign drop off, clean out if we need it. I mean, his jobs just don't stop.
Got it. No, absolutely. Fantastic.
From the he even created these little post-it notes that says, "Is not my job." So when I need him to do something, I just write it down here and he does it. That came from Ira, my coach. So, anywho, that's
so you're mastering the art of delegation.
We're trying.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
I do all the contracts. We do all negotiations, and requests for repairs, and my buyers, I'm still doing buyers.
Got it. Okay. Perfect. So where are you at numbers wise so far year to date?
Well, hey, today we sold a house. So,
all right.
So that's at 43.
43 closed and pending?
Closed and pending.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And how many active listings?
Only 4 now.
Oh.
Yeah, but 8 in pending. And so then 35 closed.
35 closed, 8 pending, 4 active listings.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. So of the 43 closed and pending, is it mainly listings? Is it kind of 50% buyers? I mean, what's the ratio on that?
We are mostly listings. I would probably say in that 8 that we have remaining, one. Yeah, about 60-40.
So 60% listings, 40% buyers.
Right.
Got it. Okay. So Karen, I don't know if you know this or not, but I did a little research. So as far as units go, year to date, you're in the top 1% of the entire MLS.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's exciting. Write that down.
So there's a little marketing tool that you can use for that. But I looked it up. I knew you were probably pretty close. And actually you're right on the 0.5% of all the agents in the MLS in terms of units closed year to date. So congratulations.
In Riverside.
No, the entire MLS.
Oh my.
So, I mean, which covers most of Southern California.
Very cool.
Yeah. So congratulations to you on that. Way to go.
Thank you. I struggle with my ego, so that's really helping me. Yeah, I appreciate that a lot.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because most people struggle with their ego in the opposite direction, where if I say that, I don't hear from them for 6 months. You know, or you're more of you kind of beat yourself up a little bit.
I do. Yeah. So we try to keep to the unit idea,
Right.
always thinking about units instead of the money. Todd and I were talking about this morning. It's like we're on track for the best year ever this year, not for obvious reasons, but it's like we can't look at the money, because that just takes you into complacency really fast.
Interesting. So focusing on the units, growing the units keeps you moving. The money puts you into complacency. Got it. And is that because since the average price point is higher, you could technically do less units but make more money? Is that kind of the thought process?
Yeah, I mean, if we would have stopped working when we maxed what we wanted to make income wise, we would have stopped working a couple months ago.
On behalf of Century 21 Masters, we're glad you didn't.
Right on. And Neil said I couldn't either. He said, no, you don't get to stop working.
We greatly appreciate you continuing to work. So thank you for that. Thanks for that.
More better. Right on.
So, okay. So let's go back to this a little bit. Is you said you're on track for the most units you've ever closed. So tell me about that. What's the secret? What's the breakthrough? I mean, here we're in the middle of COVID and recalls and masks and all this other craziness going on in the world, and yet you're on pace to have your most productive year ever. So walk me through that. What's the difference for Karen Myatt?
I really think it started last year, Robert, when COVID did start happening and we were on this lockdown situation and we had this Zoom, and it helped me to kind of not get so distracted by, let's say, oh, I'm going to go knock on doors today. Oh, I'm going to go knock, No, we weren't doing that. I wasn't doing open houses. None of us were, right?
Right.
I did my first open house this last weekend. It was still fun. But, the distraction factor was eliminated. So we're at the office every day. So we were fortunate enough to have our own office, thanks to you guys. So here we are in our office and we're working every day. And instead of just trying to do lots of little things and make excuses that I prospected.
Got it.
Instead of really prospecting on the phone where you hit your number, you didn't hit your number. Yeah.
Okay. So just eliminating the options of what am I going to do today helped you just focus on doing the one thing you needed to do.
Right. I have to make phone calls.
Have to make phone calls.
Have to make phone calls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And how do you have a daily goal as far as contacts or hours, or how do you go about your prospecting day?
It's 30 contacts.
30 contacts.
And
do you hit that?
Yeah, most of the time. And sometimes it's over, and sometimes it's, I'll do a couple door knocks occasionally and stuff like that afterwards. But it takes me 4 hours almost to do that.
Okay.
So it's a big commitment.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Well,
I talk a lot.
Being in the top 1% of the entire MLS is a big commitment. So prospecting 4 hours a day is a commitment, but that's what it takes, right?
Right.
Okay.
We did sign up for the accountability, with Mike Ferry.
Yeah.
And so that has helped also too. I'm checking in and I'm checking out, every day.
So tell me a little bit about that, because that was going to be the next question I wrote down is, okay, you've eliminated the options of, well, should I door knock today? Should I call today? So and so forth. But that doesn't mean there's not distractions. Right. I mean, you have two kids that are doing some really interesting things, and you got a husband that I'm sure distracts the hell out of you all day long. I'm just kidding. He's the best. Right. And you got life and all these other different things. So how do you eliminate the distractions that we all run into on a daily basis to prospect 4 hours a day?
You just have to get it done.
You just have to get it done. Okay.
So yeah, I might have a distraction, and I'll cut myself a little slack if it's a big, whatever. But I have to finish it later.
So So is the mentality then that if I don't finish it now, that's okay. I just have to get it done by the end of the day. Is that kind of the thought? Yep. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, cool. So, okay. So now you're focused, you've eliminated the distractions, you've eliminated the options. So what's next? What's the third step in this process of being one of the top 1% agents in the MLS?
Well, I think with you guys' training and what, we keep getting reminded about is we're doing, newsletters 4 times a year.
Okay.
Right. We're doing HomeBot, which is a fantastic program. I'm recommending it to everyone. HomeBot is a program that sends emails to your client base whenever you decide, every 2 weeks or every month, and tells them the value of their home. And possibly if they want to refi, or, there's a lender factor involved with it as well, which I don't really care about how much they owe on their house, but they seem to care. And so they'll plug in, and then they'll call me, just so you know, we've been paying double payments and now I only owe 125 on your house. I said, well, do you want to sell? Well, no, I just wanted to tell you. I said, well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So
it's engaging them at least, though.
Yes.
Got it.
And they open it. And so, and then occasionally, they'll send me a text. I want a CMA on the house, or I want to know what's the next thing to do to improve my property. And it's a reason for a phone call.
Great. Okay, cool.
So I think that's been a huge thing for us. We do the newsletters. We also did notepads. I copied Jennifer Matsumoto. She does little notepads to her farm. I don't really farm, but I do send them to the database. And then we're using Follow Up Boss for our CMA, which is an easier program for me to use, and I'm liking it. And we do Christmas cards too.
Okay.
So that's next.
And then how often do you call the people in your database?
As often as possible.
Okay.
So yeah, like twice a year.
What an expressive answer. How often? I'm not going to give you a number. I'm just going to say it's a lot. Okay, thank you.
Well, the truth is I wasn't really using Follow Up Boss last year, and I keep thinking I'm calling my database, but when I'm logging into Follow Up Boss now, I'm realizing, I haven't talked to them since January. Or I'd really just called them 3 weeks ago. Well, Karen, no, you don't get to call them now. You just talked to them 3 weeks ago. So it kind of, I guess I am a little expressive. So we are learning that.
This kind of brings me to a separate question, because it seems to be, from a coaching standpoint, I get a lot of pushback, or a lot of agents can't seem to grasp the concept and power of using a CRM for their database. And, you've been at this for a long time, and yet you just started really doing it. So what changed? What was the aha moment to go, hey, you know what? I really need to get a grip on my database. And part of that is getting them in a CRM.
I'm just a slow learner. And it took me forever to figure this out, which is very sad. Okay. But these CRMs have gotten easier to use. So maybe in a combination of things, it's way easier program. I do like Follow Up Boss. It's just, I didn't like Top Producer, is what it was before. And with Todd's help, again, that would be him, like, always looking at new programs and thinking what else we could do. So it just kind of, it's making sense. And then when you're calling the database and you realize, cousin Vinny just bought a house, I'm thinking, well, Karen, you didn't call him and you didn't get it.
Yep.
So shame on me. But then you call them and they go, well, I was just thinking of you. We should get together,
right.
And so then it's a win.
Okay. Got it. When you were doing that, when you were getting all your database organized and Follow Up Boss, did you run into some of those scenarios where people had bought or sold a house?
Every time. You don't want to know, Robert.
That's a pretty painful feeling.
It's a painful feeling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got
Right.
it. Got it. Got it. But I just, again, I want to drive that point home because that is a major struggle that agents have, is getting their database organized in a CRM. And so I think it's really cool that you did that.
Well,
So,
and we think,
go ahead.
the other thing is we think we can control it all in our brain. I have all these files behind me. Those are all potential leads right there, and so I'm a touchy feely. I want to look at the paper. I want to feel it. And I just finally had to, and I'm not even saying we're consistent on this yet, but you got to let go of the paperwork and let it be in the system. And if we're doing the system consistently, then we're going to follow up with them the way we're supposed to. And we're not going to lose people.
Got it. Oh, it's great. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Cool.
So, Karen, you told me yesterday that you had been stuck at 39 closings for a while, and this 4 years. So this year was the breakthrough. So other than what we've talked about already, is there anything else that was a transformation that finally got you out of 39 for 4 years in a row to 50?
I really think it's the consistency on the prospecting.
Consistency on the prospecting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got it.
It's not like we can't close people.
Right.
Or, get them to sign the contract with it. It's just keeping that schedule enough where you're able to generate as well as handle. Like right now, I'm getting a little bit in that overwhelmed state with 7 or 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of that overwhelm. Normally I would say, I need to take the foot off the gas here because this is too much. Right. And then just start managing the deals until they hatched and closed.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like, but I can't because I still have to do 30 contacts. So now I'm in trouble. So, so we're probably at the best September we've had numbers ever, just because I worked last month.
Well, it's amazing how that works out.
It's amazing. You only say that every day to us.
I'm going to write that down. So I am having the best September ever because I worked last month. Okay, good. If we get nothing else out of today, that's a good idea.
Right.
Got it. Okay, perfect.
I mean, just look like what Savannah did. She made a phone call.
Yeah.
Well, if she didn't make a phone call, she wouldn't have got the expired guy.
Right.
So it's amazing how that works out.
It's just being in action.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So, but Karen, walk me through a little bit here. You're going to close 50 deals this year minimum, and you might close more, and you're the only producer. You don't have a buyer's agent, right? You don't have another listing agent. You're doing 50 deals as your own producer, and Todd does, again, all the back end stuff that you talked about. How do you handle that? I mean, how do you handle closing 50 deals without a buyer's agent, without another listing agent? I mean, help us with that.
Well, I do have Maggie as my TC, which is great. Okay. So I'm letting her do, the bulk of the disclosures, except I always do TDS, SPQ, and Avid with my seller in person. And I also do the escrow papers in person with the seller as well. Because why? Then we don't have mistakes, which is good. So I just have the philosophy, we just do what we can today and we don't put it off till tomorrow.
So just get it done today. Don't worry about it.
Get it done. Get the email done, finish it, move it.
Now, but doing all that, because to most people, I mean, we see this all the time, and I'm sure you run into this all the time with agents that is once they start getting 12 to 15 transactions, 20 transactions, they're looking at maybe a buyer's agent. They're looking at that, and then you're doing 50. So do you have a life? Like, can you do 50 transactions and still be able to go out to dinner and spend time with the family?
We do a lot of movie time. Yeah. And I do feel a little guilty at nighttime. I watch a movie sometimes every night. I'll just watch, it's an hour and a half. So that's my zone out, have some ice cream. That's it.
Got it.
Keto-friendly ice cream. And diet root beer. Okay, just to be clear. And I want to props for this. I've lost 30 pounds this year.
Whoa.
On top of everything. Thank you. I knew the ladies would appreciate that. On top of everything else, we lost weight, which is really not so easy. But that's the same deal.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's just not eating sugar. So hey, yeah.
That's awful. That's just, oh man.
It's awful. It's just priorities, Robert. Priorities.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. You're not taking my M&Ms.
Well, that's what I used to have every day for years and years.
Not taking it away. No way. Good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, no wonder you're making more money. You got to go get all new clothes.
I know I'm going to go shopping today.
There you go. Perfect. All right. Well, got it.
You know, you can do that when you bet your husband. So Todd and I had a bet, you know, whoever lost 10 pounds first when we were starting the diet. Now we're all self-motivated, but to start, I wanted to win. So it was $1,000 on the table. And then I beat him by like a couple pounds. I mean, he was doing really great too. So we've just been consistent.
He came in second place. Let's just call it what it is.
Honey. So he's lost a lot of weight too. So actually we're both like neck and neck on the weight loss.
Good for you. Congratulations. Yeah. That's amazing.
Right.
Wow. I would bet that during this last year and a half of COVID, more people are going in the opposite direction than losing 30 pounds.
It's kind of like what you said about why now? Why are we getting better now? You know, and it's like, okay, well, how long, Karen, do you want to be chubby? You know, how many more years? You know, and when my son was weighing less than me, that was the kicker. Okay. And then you got these young bucks that are selling all these houses. I'm thinking, okay, well, golly, Karen, you can do more than 39. Right.
So you have a great internal motivation where you use kind of your basic day-to-day stuff around you to motivate you.
Right. And I have a lot of triggers. So like I have a board that you can't see, but every time I sell a house, I get to put a smiley face on the calendar for the year. Mm-hmm. And every time I've got one, like you can kind of see in the background, that's 40 deals already on the board. I need to add 3 more. And so I know which month they closed. Then every morning I'm writing down, you know, what my weight is, you know, so there's wins like everywhere built in to the day.
That's great. It's huge. That makes a huge difference.
Isn't that fun? Yeah.
Oh, no, it's great. We have to constantly remind ourselves of the positive things. The little wins equal the big ones.
Right.
Got it. Okay. Got it. So, you know, Karen, I guess one of the things you've mentioned a couple of times is consistency. To the agents that get frustrated because they're not getting the results today.
Right.
Help them with that. What's the message to them to keep them on the consistency word that you've used 2 or 3 times today?
I think there's things we can set up for ourselves to help us. And like having a win book or a journal. I do journal every day when I'm having like devotions. So I'm journaling on what I'm worried about, what's a win, what's a potential, you know, so then we can kind of, and I get discouraged, you know, not a lot, but every once in a while I'll get discouraged and I'll look through my book, go, okay, well, if I could close that deal, this is easy, right? If I could deal with that client, this is going to be okay. You know, so we just kind of have to encourage ourselves along the process because it takes 90 days to get any sort of traction in this business. And we have to do what we're going to do today if we're going to get that reward, you know, tomorrow.
Got it.
Just remembering it takes 90 days. I remember Matt Ferry telling me that years ago. He says, you got to do it for 90 days. You can't expect instantaneous. It just doesn't happen.
So when you say that, it's create a plan, a business plan, or create a task or something that you want to improve on, and you have to commit to doing it for 90 days.
Exactly.
Okay. Because it's not going to happen instantaneously.
Mm-mm.
You don't just pick up the phone the very first day, not know what to say or how to say it, and all of a sudden get $1 million listing.
Well, some people have done that. Some people I know even. But still, yeah, exactly. I mean, you're going to get lucky. That's the fun part about this business. It's so fun when it just, you get the call, the come list me call, and I get those too. But if I really look back, why did I get that come list me call? Well, I knocked on that guy's door 3 years ago. He kept my card and then he called me. Well, if I hadn't knocked on his door 3 years ago, I wouldn't got that phone call.
Right.
Right. So it goes back, even though we get lucky, it goes back to something, a seed we planted.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
It's a great point. That there's a quote that and I might be paraphrasing a little bit, but it's luck comes from hard work and preparation or something along those lines. So what people may see as luck for you is like, oh, she just got another come list me call. It was because you put in the effort 3 years ago to build that relationship.
Right.
Got it.
And I've been doing this so long that I do have people from 15, 16 years ago, 20 years ago, So if I was super smart 20 years ago, I'd be much richer today if I had in my CRM.
Well, Karen, Mike has said over and over again that you're an idiot until you're 50. So that was the problem. So it's not your fault. It wasn't your fault 20 years ago, Karen. It's just life. What are you going to do?
We didn't even have cell phones when I started. So there we go. If I had the cell phone today when I started, it's a whole different game.
Yeah. I don't know. We say that, but there's a lot of us that the cell phone is the reason we're not producing at the level we're supposed to.
There you go.
Because every time it beeps or bings or vibrates or something, it's whoosh. So yeah. There you go. Got it. Karen, what do you think your superpower is?
Oh, yes. I'm likable.
You were so excited.
I knew you would
You were waiting for that. You had that written down.
I have it written down. The other one was I'm an encourager.
Okay.
And I give concierge service. So
you're likable, you're an encourager, and you give concierge service.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The likable thing, no, I'm just kidding.
I had a buyer yesterday. I'm giving him the tour of a $2.6 million house, right? Which I still give tours. So he goes, wow, you have a nice smile. I said, well, thank you. And I felt a little odd because his agent's right there.
Going never said that to me.
Because she wasn't smiling.
Not once have I gotten a compliment from this freaking buyer.
So, I thought, I got you right now.
Yeah, okay. Perfect. This is gold. This is gold. The likable thing I certainly get. So talk about what an encourager, what does that mean?
I do feel our sellers every day need encouragement. Our buyers need encouragement. They need to know that we're going to get them through this process and we're going to take the stress away. So it's part of my self-talk is I help my sellers and buyers move with less stress. So I'm there to take that stress away from them. And that's what I get paid for.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a great. How do you do that with the difficult buyers and sellers? Because I'm sure you get buyers and sellers that no one else is listening, Karen, just you and I, that you don't like. Yeah.
Got one right
how do you stay the encourager with the people that you can't wait for the transaction to close?
Just try to keep it between the lines, and keep the emotions, just do right by them. Just keep it professional, keep it nice. I always answer their phone. I'm always going to take their phone call. I'm going to get right back to them. I'm going to give them good service. Got it.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. So it's interesting that what I was listening to you, when I was listening to you say all that, at no point do you mention the money.
No, don't think about the money. I never think about the money. It's not part of what I think about. Yeah. I think about, I better get a listing before Monday. I better sell this house or I lost something or I'm mad about something, but I'm not thinking about money.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
That's probably why you get so much referral business, is because the client, I'm sure, reads that.
Well, I took a client to Lennar last week, who, I've done some work with over the years, right? They know me, right?
Yeah. Yes.
They saw me come in with her. She had been there over the weekend snooping around without me, didn't tell me. So they go, well, she's been here before. I said, I know. And they said, well, we'll take care of it, Karen. And I thought, they're going to register her for me, right? Did they?
No.
So I showed up for the contract signing, the 2 hours, looked at the lot, all the bonding that goes along with a buyer. And I thought, I have a weird feeling about this, not good feeling, and I asked her point blank in an email, I said, am I getting paid on this? She said, oh no, it's not going to work out. I said, okay, thanks. Well, the buyer didn't know, didn't care. I mean, I'm not going to say anything. Right. So now, of course, as a coach, you're going to say you should have a buyer's agency agreement, which I didn't. So, but Sunday, my buyer decides to go look at Richmond American instead and cancels the Lennar deal. And now I am getting paid.
All right. Yay.
But she did that completely on her own. And when I finally got the deal signed, I said, yeah, well, this is great because Lennar wasn't going to pay me.
Yeah. There you go.
Anyway.
You would think after the amount of deals you've done for them, they would do you a favor.
You would think.
It's separate conversation. Okay. Concierge service was the third thing you mentioned. So walk me through concierge service.
I am always calling them.
Okay.
Or texting, saying hello. How you doing?
During the transaction, after the transaction?
Every day.
Every day. Okay.
Maybe it's an exaggeration, but multiple times a week.
They never have to find you.
They call me.
They never wonder.
They don't ever call me is what I wanted to say.
Yeah. They don't ever wonder where Karen's at.
No, they know. I try to anticipate to call them before they even have a concern or a question. And so when I'm on the phone with them, I said, okay, so while I got you, wanted to let you know, next, we're going to need to have the buyer do their home inspection. Okay. And then after that, I'm going to meet with you and we're going to go over escrow instructions.
Okay.
And then next is the appraisal is going to come out and I'm going to be there for the appraisal appointment. Okay. So I just try to answer whatever question they have before we get to that point.
So you're staying ahead of the game.
I try to stay ahead of the game.
You're being aggressive and not reactive.
Right. And then when we're doing our contracts, I'm very detailed about making sure my seller has 5-7 days to vacate for free. So I don't have to be stressed. They don't have to be stressed. All of that.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
They don't always listen to me, but like I got a seller moving out right now. Like, you didn't have to move out right now. We're not closed yet. But it's not like I haven't been talking to them every day.
Yeah.
So
hey, look, they do what they want to do. I'm just here to provide the information.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay, cool. So I had one other question, Karen, and then we'll open it up for questions from the group. So a little bit about mindset. So you'd mentioned kind of likable. My experience with you and Todd, whether it be in person, on Zoom, over the phone, is that you're always cheerful. You're typically always smiling. You're always laughing. You're always energetic. Todd's the same exact way. I could see either one of you. You always have smiles. It's like the nicest people in the world. Like, so
that's good.
Like, this can be a pretty frustrating job at times.
Yes.
This can be a challenging job at times. You get rejected just like everybody else does.
Yeah.
How do you keep that such fun, positive, energetic mindset all the time?
Well, I do think it's hard to keep it all the time, and I think we do struggle with it. We don't show it. So it just has to be game on. It's game on. I'm smiling.
Okay.
I might be crying, but I'm smiling.
Boy, as someone who's doing the interview right now, I feel really special about that comment right there. I'm crying on the inside, Robert, but because you asked me to do this, I'll put the smile on.
I just think the client deserves happiness. The client can feel us like that on our tone and our attitude. Like I have one that just picks up on it like instantly if I like have any hesitation in my voice. So I'm just super careful how I bring information to people. And then I try to give them bad news like really quickly. Hey, the buyer fell out. Sorry, well, but we're going to fix it. We're going to take care of it, or whatever. So we just try to, because I realize that they're stressed when they're talking to me because they think I'm going to bring them some heavy news when really it's all positive news. So, right. Yeah.
That's great. Right. Right. I think really that is your superpower, at least to me, is that you're constantly in that energetic, smiling, laughing, positive state. And it's infectious. It's hard not to have a conversation with you and not be in a positive mood. So,
oh, thank you.
Very, very cool.
I do pray a lot. So, you give it upstairs and you say, take it.
He's helping. He's helping a little bit.
He's helping a lot.
Okay.
A lot. A lot of praying.
Amen.
Right. I'll see if I can, maybe I'll start doing that. I don't know. We'll see what I can do.
It works.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Good job. Okay. Questions for Karen. You can unmute yourself or put it in the chat box. What do you have for Karen Myatt?
Cool. I'm ready for
I
you.
want to share something.
Go ahead,
Karen. Yeah, Karen, thank you for sharing all the great information. I really want to say something about Karen because I referred her a couple of deals, even though didn't consummate, but he is always responsive. And he followed up right away. When I gave her a referral, even though it was like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, she was calling my referral and get back to me right away. Let me know what's going on and follow up. So that's very impressive. And also, I'm really impressed. She is always, laughing, smiling, cheerful. I like how she said, I might be crying, but I'm smiling because our clients deserve happiness. Yeah, many times I feel the same way. We feel like we are beaten, we really feel stressed. But when we see clients, I try not to show anything, always show positive. So that's great. Karen, I have a question for you. You mentioned some tool you use to email it to seller.
Yeah.
Let them know their value of their homes. What's the name of this?
HomeBot.
A home bus?
Home BOT.ai. And you can email me or Todd at sold@myattrealestate.com and Todd will send you a link.
Okay, wonderful. This is a great tool. Thank you for sharing.
I'm putting Karen's contact information in the chat box right now.
And Todd would like to say we get 70% open rate on that.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So they're going to look at it and maybe 1 out of 100 might, pull out of it or whatever. And that usually means they already sold their house with someone else.
Uh-oh.
But, at least you're following up. That's all you can do.
There you go.
But, I think that's a huge thing and you're going to love that program. And it's $25 a month. It's really,
oh my gosh,
really cheap.
Thank you. That's great information.
Thank you for the kind words, Yvonne. I appreciate it.
Of course. Yeah.
All right. What else? What other questions do we have for Karen?
Her superpower is a fact because she shared that with me. So I just want to thank you. When we role played, she took me for a little longer than she normally did. So yeah, very likable too. I do like her too. And Todd is just like her. They're perfect. They're awesome. So
thank you, Armin.
I've listened to everything she said and I recorded a lot of it. Well, our role plays and different things. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Fun times.
Yes.
There you go. Karen, what was the CRM you use as Follow-Up Boss, right?
Follow-Up Boss.
Yep.
And what's nice about that, it records, you can log in that you just called them and you log in what you do. If you call off your phone, then you can just record into your phone what you talked about after the call,
Oh, voice memo.
and it will voice memo it into the system. And then when you email or, and if they're logged into the system, then any email that you send will get noted. And then when we do our mailer, then we'll put in, we have to log in hand by hand that we mailed them something. So it tracks it in all these different ways. And you can even text them from the system, but that's a little, you got to be careful you're not texting them what you're saying. I did that one time. Didn't say anything bad, so it was okay.
You mean like when you're saying something and it doesn't pick up the correct words on the text?
You can hit
type
the
of thing?
text button, and then whatever you put in there goes directly to the client.
Ah,
Yeah, so let's be careful on that one.
yeah,
But it's very easy, very user friendly.
got it.
Yeah.
Cool. Chris, go ahead.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, Chris.
Hi. Even though I'm new to the group here, I can, from seeing you prospecting, sometimes seeing you on here, I mean, I appreciate you sharing, and I can tell you're very humble and sincere.
Oh, thank you.
So even sometime I put myself like, if I'm doing business with you, or I'm just a client in something, I can literally can just really trust you. You know what I mean? So that's a great quality. My question is, as far as your database, actually two questions. My first one is your database. Like, do you have a certain rule or guidance or guideline, like say somebody who, go in your database, and how quickly do you get them out? And then my second question is, do you still go in person to present offers to your sellers? Because it seems like you take the extra step, like,
Yeah.
going in there and sitting down face to face to do paperwork and presenting things like that. And I used to did it before. I'm starting to find I'm getting more lazier, where you like to do it over the phone or email and stuff. So what is your what is your procedures, or how do you do this?
If the client is super comfortable with DocuSign and they're okay with it, you'll be surprised. They'd probably prefer that you just did DocuSign, like on all the disclosures. But I try to go with, like, I have an elderly client right now that I will do all the disclosures with her in person.
Okay, so it depends. Okay.
It really does. If they're techie, they'd just prefer, like, I had all these things ready for a buyer to sign yesterday. He didn't want to sign it there. He wanted his wife to DocuSign her name, so
Right.
I sometimes try to go old school more often. And then I'm reminded that they don't want that. They want DocuSign. So let them have what they want. I think we have to kind of grow with the times too, right? On that.
Okay.
But if I can meet them in person for a contract, 100%, I actually always meet them in person unless they're out of state.
Even for like presenting offers, for example, like you represent, I mean, if you're presenting like, 2-3 different offers, or you're representing one offer, you still would meet them in person?
Well, let's say you have multiple offer, right? So I would send them by email. I'll send them the offers when the offers come in. And that's what I tell the agent. Said, I'm going to present the offer as soon as you send it to me. I don't know that the seller is going to respond immediately, but
right. Okay. I gotcha.
We're going to do our part. The seller got your offer.
Okay.
Thursday night.
Great.
And then to do best by the seller, we need to talk about each one of those offers and then do a multiple counter.
Yes. Okay.
Most likely. Yeah. So whatever the seller wants, but sometimes the seller says, nope, hey, I'm happy with this price. Take it. Okay.
Right.
You want me to come over in person? You want us to do it on DocuSign? Oh, DocuSign's fine. Just send it over. And then you're done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. And I guess my other question is about your database. Like, what is your rules for people going in, going out? Like, how would you, do those?
This is another thing. Todd's standing nearby to make sure I say the right answer,
Oh.
which is they go in and they never go out.
Ever?
Unless I'm in charge, and then I delete them. But
The gatekeeper will not let it out.
he puts them in and I go, why did you put him in? I didn't like him.
And then you get a listing a year from now.
Or I was offended or something,
So do you categorize like A, B, and C? How
No.
or do you just put it like fall of every 3 months, 6 months? or 6 months or a year? Do you depend on that, or how do you? Because I could imagine you have so much people in your database, if you don't take them out, and the amount of time for you to have to go through them must, so that's why I'm figured you have to, or categorize them to who to call first.
Well, Robert needs to close his ears. Okay. So,
Uh-oh.
so I just call the people that I like.
Ah,
The problem. That's a problem. Okay. So
We mail everybody.
we mail everybody
We email
yes.
and we email everybody no
Okay.
matter what. And so then I'm working on getting everybody really where I can know who they are. Because there's hundreds in there that I don't even know who they are.
Right. Okay. But you have other system that goes in like HomeBot and your email and mailers just to trigger if they ever raise their hand, at least
Yeah.
you will know about it.
Right.
Okay. So that's good.
Chris, it's just a process of getting better, and just,
I know sometimes I have that's why I have a lot of people in here that I'm looking at like, what am I going to do with them? So that's right.
and
But-
sometimes I'll do that too. I'll call off my phone as well, because we just collect all these voicemails and numbers
Yeah.
and just say, hey, you know what, Chris, I had you on my phone. I don't know if you remember me, but we did, business a couple years ago, most likely. Or did you buy a house, or did you move out of area, or where are you at?
Okay.
Okay. And they say, I moved out of state like 3 years ago. Well, have a nice life. And then you're off the phone.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Cool.
Good question.
Thank you.
Good
Good
question. So let me kind of help Karen's ego for a second here. So, and then we'll go back to questions and then we'll wrap up here. So I don't mind that you're only calling people that you like, because my thought, it would be the same thing as Mike Ferry's thought, same thing as Neil's thought, is that you should never have anybody in your database that makes you go, oh God, I don't really want to call them.
That person.
Database should be your safety zone. That should be your happy place, that this is all Zen, this is all good. So that should be
So,
that. But
I have-
let me hold on one second, Chris. But let me share a story. And Karen, I don't even know if you'll remember this. A couple of years ago, you did a panel, and this was when it was live in the Walnut office. And you shared a story about how you had just taken a listing from someone that you had been calling. They were in your database and they'd been there for like 10 years. And they never picked up the phone. You always left a voicemail. And somebody had asked you, well, why would you keep calling if they're never going to pick up the phone? And your response was, well, they're not interested in buying and selling real estate every day. They might only be interested in 7 or 10 years. And if I just leave them a message 10 years from now they called me because now they do have a real estate question and I got the listing.
Right.
And so we have to, and so if we dialed that down to, money, to call someone and leave a voicemail is about what, 1.5 minutes, right?
Right.
Something like that. So if you left 4 voicemails a year for 10 years, that's 40 voicemails. So that's 60 minutes worth of work. And that listing probably got you $10,000 or $11,000. So 60 minutes is 1 hour. So it was about $10,000 an hour. It's a decent pay rate.
Right.
So we have to and I always remembered that, because we have to remember for ourselves. This goes back to Karen, what you talked about earlier, is we're expecting instantaneous results. Well, they're in my database. I've left them a message 4 times this year and they haven't called me back. Well, if they don't have a real estate question, they're not going to call you back.
Right.
But and they only sell or buy a home maybe every 7 to 10 years, but they remember the person who's constantly been calling, emailing, mailing. And I think that's a great reminder for people that you can't expect the instantaneous thing. Get them in your database, leave them voicemails, and it might take 7, 10, 11 years, but when they're ready, that's a decent paycheck. So,
Absolutely. And it's
good
great
stuff.
customer service when we call. Like I'm telling myself, it's great customer service when I call the client after the closing multiple times so that I can train them that I am going to call you. I even tell them that during the deal. I'm calling you every quarter for the rest of your life. Just so you know. So So when I
And
call
no,
you,
and no one gets
and
sick.
they- yeah,
No
yeah.
one like starts vomiting. No one
No.
starts crying. No, nothing, right? There, it's just like,
Right.
okay,
Oh, okay. So,
okay.
so I don't have to sell, but I'm calling you anyway. So it's
Yeah.
okay.
Like Carl Hill.
Yeah,
Very cool.
right
Very
on.
cool.
And-
Okay.
I have a question for Karen.
Yes,
Hey,
Tess.
Karen, how are you?
Hey, Tess, great. Thank you.
Congratulations, my dear. You did very well.
Good.
I want to know how you work. I mean, being in the business for quite some time, do you deal with like second generation now, and how do you handle that for your clients?
Yes, it's happened. It's happened. Not a lot, but it has happened.
Okay.
Because I think I have a lot of people leaving the state as well. And I haven't been that good to follow up with the kids. So I'm
Okay.
trying to make notes with, follow up boss that what the kids' names are. And
Right.
I have helped some with the younger ones. Sure.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that based on when we're calling our clients, sometimes it's always nice to connect with the kids too. So I was just wondering how you handle that.
I think we have to be
Alright.
more engaging when we're conversing with our clients to say, how are the kids doing?
Yeah,
How
exactly.
are they? Because we just think, okay, you're not selling. Okay, moving on.
Right.
And you're
right.
happy. Okay, good. But the kids, how old are they? Oh, they're 25, 20, 30. They get married, have babies. Oh, they have a house. I
Right.
think we could all do better with, I could do better with that. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Okay,
Good
great.
job.
Thank you.
I have a question for Karen. Karen, since you call so much, right? Whenever you call, sometimes clients, you just close escrow, they will not buy or sell. You
Right.
still call them.
Yeah.
So when you call them, you leave a voicemail. Do you still ask for business or just say hello and see if you have any real estate questions for me, or do you have any need?
And Yvonne, I'd be really calling you just to say, hey, I just hope you're loving that house. How are you doing? You've been there 3 weeks. Everything okay? You need any warranty issues? Everything okay? You happy, loving it? Okay, good. That's it. I'm off the phone with that.
Okay.
I don't
got
feel
it.
like we have to ask them. They know we're in real. I don't feel like we have to say, who do you know today? Every time we have a conversation with them.
Got it. Thank you.
You bet.
Now I am plugging my ears.
See, that's where the genuine.
Now I am plugging my ears, Karen.
No, that's a
I
great
was
point because
defending
that's
you
where
earlier.
Karen is
I
the
said,
genuine coming in.
I've got a script.
Right on.
Oh, yeah,
You know what?
yeah.
They're going to call you, Robert. Yvonne, that guy will call you 3 weeks later because why? Because you did call and you cared enough. I'll make up reasons to call them. Hey, I know you replaced the granite on the house. Can I get that guy's number? Oh, well, you're the buyer for the deal that I was the listing on. And now I have your number and I'm talking to you and we're going to be connecting. And then I probably get his family member to buy from me.
Adopting the other side of the transaction.
Adopting the other side of the transaction.
Yep.
Right
Very
on.
good. Very good.
All right.
All right. Well, Karen, I got to tell you, I can't thank you enough for spending the time with us today. Everybody unmute yourselves, please. Give Karen the round of applause that she deserves.
Super fun being here.
Did
you
you
guys.
record it?
Oh, man. So
Fabulous,
very good.
fabulous,
Yeah.
Karen.
Oh,
It was great.
you're the best.
Wonderful.
Karen.
Thank
Karen.
you,
Thank you,
guys.
Karen.
Really wonderful.
Karen, tell Todd, good job behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, great job.
Good job.
Todd was behind the camera holding up the cue cards the entire time. Karen, say this. Say this.
Right on.
Oh,
All right. It was
you're the
some
best.
fun.
You're the best.
Appreciate
Good
you.
job,
And every
Karen.
great agent, there's a great man, right?
Hey, that's right. It is. And he's cute.
My wife feels the exact opposite of that, but that's a different story. We'll get down that a different day. All right. Good job.
All right.
Good job. Good job. All right. So, as we typically do at this time after a mastermind meeting, what did we get out of that? What were some takeaways or some interesting points we got from Karen Myatt today?
as much as I'd love to hear all this, I gotta run.
I know you do.
All right.
Greatly
home inspection
appreciate it.
time.
I'm sorry I took you so long.
It was super fun. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, Karen.
Bye.
All right, what do we get? What were some interesting points or takeaways you got from Karen today?
I think she's very likable. I mean, she's the type of person that when you approached her, first of all, she smiles a lot.
Yes, she does.
That
Did I freeze or did Tess freeze?
I think Tess froze.
We froze when she froze.
I was concerned. I was like, oh my gosh.
I was at the edge of my sheet.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, oh no. Okay. Well, I'm sure whatever Tess said was very powerful. What else did we get? What were some other takeaways we got from today?
I took away to focus on the units that you're selling and not the money.
Yep.
Because if you focus on how many units you're doing, the money can distract you and we can get complacent and thinking, oh, we're comfortable. We need to focus on just keep working. And if you focus on the units, it'll just keep changing. It's the changing of the mindset, I believe.
Yep. And one of the things Mike Ferry always talks about on that point, is because it's a great point Andrea brings up is the reason to always think about the units is because we don't have anything to do with the prices. So if we sometimes the falseness that we think we're getting better is that, well, I'm making more money than I've ever made. Well, that could be because the prices are so much higher, which means your commissions are higher. So instead of, last year you closed 15 transactions, this year you've only closed 13, but you've made more money. So we think, well, yeah, I'm improving as a real estate agent, when the reality is you're not, because you're actually doing less business. So it's another way that we give ourselves false thoughts of our level of greatness. But to that point of, just focus on continuously working, just get more units. And the more units you do, the more money you'll make. So good point. Good point. What else did we get out of that? What other points?
I have something.
Go ahead.
Okay, I got that she said consistency was real important in her business and that she would put in that minimum of 4 hours every day. So she just grinded, and if she got distracted, she had an appointment, she'd get back on it. And I think that's going to be key for me. So that was really good. I'm thinking, dang, if she could do it on 4 hours a day, we can all do that. 4 hours.
4 hours. Well,
Yeah.
and here's the mentality, and we didn't get into this too much with her, but I know this of her because I've worked with her for a while, is she doesn't get everything done in the morning. She'll openly admit that sometimes her schedule can be her weakness. It's not always her strongest thing. But she has the mentality of, don't worry, it'll get done by the end of the day. There's just no way. So even if she can't prospect from 8 to 12 or something like that, something comes up, she's going to get her 4 hours in. She's going to get her 30 contacts. And if that means she's got to do some prospecting at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, then she's going to do it. And that's the mentality that some of us have to have is, one, it doesn't have to all be done at once. Now, I hesitate saying things like that because then most people can't focus that much in the afternoon. But sometimes, for example, let's say that you want to prospect 3 hours a day and you say 9 to 12, but an inspection comes up that you absolutely can't move at 10:30. So a lot of people, what happens is go, well, I can't prospect this morning. I have an inspection. Well, why can't you prospect from 9 to 10? Why can't you at least get the hour in and then go drive to the inspection? Okay. And then what time's the inspection? Well, I'll be back at 11. Great. Why can't you prospect from 11 to 12? It just, as long as it gets done is the key. And she has that mentality of it's going to get done. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And she's making 30 contacts a day, prospecting 4 hours a day, and she's going to close 50 deals without any other agents, without a buyer's agent. She's still showing property. So it can be done. It can be done is the point.
Well, and to that, Robert, I was just thinking about like how I did that. Like Neil had encouraged, just keep your commitment to yourself. When you say you're going to do that 2 hours, that 3, whatever, to do it. And so I stayed late to get it done the other night. And I was thinking, you know what, this is not fun staying late at the office every night. So it actually is motivating too, to then maybe crank it out earlier, So it all has that ripple effect if you are accountable to yourself, with those goals. And anyways, I think this is gold.
Great point. Good point. I think there was Derek in the conference room says, give bad news fast. I think that is a very great point, because when you dwell on when you give the bad news, like, okay, so I'm sorry to tell you this, but the appraisal came in short, and I know it's like, you're just making this worse. Give the bad news fast, give it with energy, and then give the solution or give what the next step are. Huge point. Good point there. All right, good job. All right, what else? What else did we get out of this? What were some other key points?
Part of her concierge service is to just stay in front of the client, not stay behind them.
Right.
I thought that was really importante.
That's a huge point. Huge point. We already know the process. Might as well tell them the process so there's no surprises. All right, now we're going to do the inspection. Here's what can happen after the buyer gets the inspection. They could either do X, 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 and X, or they could do X, 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 and X. That way, when the buyer comes back and they ask for requests for repairs, you don't go, oh my God, I didn't see this coming. It's like, hey, remember we told you one of 3 things could happen? Well, they went with option 2. They're asking for X, 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 and X. Now we can do one of 2 options, Staying ahead of it, I think, is a big key. We hear that a lot. When we interviewed Robert Kofer from the Market Owl team, that was a big thing for them too, is giving the client the information before they get it. Letting them know what's going to happen before they find out, and then they call you and say, well, what's this? Big part. Big part.
Or what do I have to do next?
What do I have to do?
That's always crummy. Yeah.
Okay. I got this. What do I do next? What now? Yep. Great point. All right, cool.
That's a very good point, because then they have the expectation of those 2 things happening. Otherwise, it's just a negative. If you've prepared them, then they know that's going to happen, and they know that there's a solution in mind of what we're going to do. I love it.
Yep. Good point. All right, good. Anything else we got from Karen Myatt today?
Robert, I just wanted to say that during the Superstar Retreat, I had a pleasure of sitting next to them, and they were wonderful. They're great encouragers. They also, one thing that I did like about them is that they did mention the HomeBot, and they also mentioned finishing my CRM, which I did, and now I'm going to subscribe everyone to the HomeBot.
Great. Yeah, cool. Perfect. Yeah, that's the beauty of these little masterminds sometimes, is we pick up these little things, home bots and all this other different stuff. Good stuff. They are encouraging. That was her thing. She said she's an encourager, which is good. I'll kind of go with this. When I talked to her yesterday, and she talked about this, but she really wanted to drive this point home, is sticking with the 90-day plan. If you create a 90-day plan for yourself, whatever it may be, it could be a whole business plan, or it could be one particular thing that you want to do or learn. You have to stick with it for 90 days, because we all want instantaneous results, but that's not realistic. So she was really focused on that when I talked to her about her business the other day. And that's why we brought that up today. So sticking to that 90-day plan, we want it. I know we want it now, but it's just not the way it goes. Good stuff.